So, last night I was going through some videos and I came across this one video where this guy and he was helping the guy that runs the cemetery lift this coffin up, and the coffin didn't weigh that much. And he asked his employer, how come this coffin doesn't weigh that much? And the guy says, well, you shouldn't ask questions that you really don't want the answers to. So, with that said, I went to the comments, and in the comments, oh my, they were really interesting. People were saying that they hadn't seen a new cemetery built in years and years and years. And then some people were saying, haven't you ever heard they don't build new cemeteries? And everybody was starting to question, well, what happens to the dead people? So I got curious and I went to ChatGPT and I typed in and I asked it, so what do cemeteries do with the bodies? Well, comes to find out that when you are in a cemetery, you have only a limited amount of time that you can stay in a cemetery. It's a lease, so you rent the space. So if your family decides not to pay for a continuation of the lease, they dig you up and they refine your bones and they either crush them up and put them in a place called a catastome, I think is how you say it. And it's underneath churches because they put them in certain designs and symbols to create frequencies so that they can tap into different either lower frequencies or higher frequencies, the dark side or the good side. Then there is the fact that they will take some bodies and liquefy them and put them back into our sewer systems. And then other bodies they'll donate to science, and well, you know what happens in that department. And then some people are going to be frozen and taken out many years down the road. And then some people are frozen so cold that they turn into dust. And then they just sprinkle it across the ground. And then there's the rituals and cultures that will literally take their dead and put them on the top of mountains and let the wildlife eat them, destroy them, scavenge them, the whole 9 yards. And then there is also the Viking way, where some cultures will take their dead, put them on like a raft, and then set the raft on fire. And other cultures, like in Paris, where they will put people on top of people, layer the graves. So there's like several layers to one grave. And most people don't even realize this is happening. And then you've got, the old-fashioned mobs where they launder and they liquefy people too. That's something the cemeteries are starting to do. They're liquefying people. They're alkalizing their body, turning them into water, and then letting them, go down the sewers or on the lawn. It just blows my mind at the techniques that cemeteries are doing to our dead. But if your family fails to renew the lease on a cemetery plot, well, they dig you up and they send you off somewhere else. So I think people should start thinking about buying their own piece of land just to put their body on, because cemeteries aren't permanent places anymore. They're only temporary. So if you want a permanent spot, you best buy your own piece of land and have yourself buried on that piece of land. Can't count on it in the cemeteries anymore. So I just thought I would bring forth all the information that I had found. This was just off the top of my head. I have all my notes in another room, and I'll make another video about it with more details. But from what I could remember, I gave you what I could remember. But anyhow, I just thought that would interest people on what really happens to their dead ones. So I'm laughing because I never thought society could be said. Now we're liquefying them, pouring them into the sewers, pouring them into our drinking water, pouring them into our oceans. Oh yeah, that's another technique that they use too, is they'll take the dead and they'll just ship them off on a ship and dump them out to sea. So there's that technique too. But that blew my mind the most was the liquefaction of bodies. That was just top notch, I guess. It's inexpensive, that's for sure. So if you're gonna buy a plot, buy a piece of land and make the plot on your own land, then you know you won't be moved. Because otherwise, if you're in a cemetery, it's only temporary. You'll either end up mushed up or liquefied or put in a cataclysm underneath a church in a pattern to tap into other frequencies outside the universe. So I just thought I'd let you guys know. But I thought it was pretty interesting. So I'll let you guys go. You have a wonderful night on thinking about where you're gonna be when you're dead. Tizzer out. Bye.